The Titanic, a story of how David Cameron wanted to go deep sea diving and accidentally made $2 billion. It is also one of the few catastrophic incidents that has claimed lives 100 years after. And of course, the movie that sparked a decades-long debate over a door. But if we shift the perspective from the happy-go-lucky Jack and instead focus on Caledon Hockley, then it becomes an aristocrat trying desperately to stop a literal peasant from stealing your fiancée, only for her to choose to die on a sinking vessel rather than becoming wealthy and rich with you, leaving you without your priceless family jewels and the woman that you wanted. But to imagine that, let me just put you in his shoes. So imagine for a second that you are Caledon Cal Hawkley, heir to the Pittsburgh Steel Empire. You were born to affluence and to luxury, attended all of the finest schools in both America and England, becoming quite the eligible bachelor. And of course, a quintessential man of your time. You are polite, you are well spoken, but you also understand your place in this world. You are above others. You truly believe that despite being fortunate enough to come from money, that because you are deserving of all of these gifts, and all those peasants around you were just lazy and uninspired. Life is a game, they lost, and you won. But you were just going for a trip to England, partly for leisure, but also to meet a woman your mother and father has set up for you, Rose DeWitt Bukata. Meh. A truly marvellous woman who would be perfect as your trophy wife, though she has something about her that just kinda irks you. For one, she likes art, meaning that you had to sink a small fortune to purchase some gaudy artworks by some up-and-coming artist, or so she called him, called Picasso or something. Either way, this was what let you convince her to marry you. And you know your wife's happiness is important. You respect her, she respects you. That's just how it works. Imagine you're surprised though when you have decided to book a trip back to America to get married to your lovely young fiancé, and you step out to see the marvel that is the Titanic. Truly, this is man's most perfect creation, an engineering feat.
It doesn't look any bigger than the Mauritania.
You can be blasé about some things, Rose, but not about Titanic. It's over 100 feet longer than Mauritania.
She is quite the precocious young lady, but it's kinda hard to tell the difference between 100 feet. Especially for a woman like Rose. Her head is just not made for this stuff. This is a creation of a man, not of a woman.
This is your private promenade deck, sir. Would you be requiring anything? Excuse me.
And boarding it, you are overwhelmed by how impressive it is. It just oozes strength, nobility, and is worthy of its name, the Titanic. You start to unpack because this voyage spans 6 days, so naturally you need all of your creature comforts, and Rose decides to unpack those awful paintings.
Between Cal's taste and art and mine is that I have some. They're fascinating.
But not before she doesn't slip you a few underhanded insults for good measure. No matter, you have a few of your own.
Something Picasso. He won't amount to a thing. He won't, trust me. At least they were cheap.
And in your first lunch on the Titanic, she can't help but discreetly insult the length of the Master Shipbuilders member and smoke at the dinner table.
Do you know of Dr. Freud, Mr. Ismay? His ideas about the male preoccupation with size might be of particular interest to you.
And, I mean, at this point you kind of know that you have your work cut out for you. But like the perfect jewel that you carry, if you can just cut her into shape, you will make her a masterpiece that would be the envy of the world. Truly, she would be your jewel.
Well, I may have to start minding what she reads from now on, won't I, Mrs. Brown?
But for whatever reason, she just seems utterly disgusted by your existence. And honestly, that just makes you want to fight even more. You love the chase. This is a game to you, and you always win. And you will win the affections of Rose, whether she likes it or not. After all, you are Caledon Hockley. You are the perfect specimen of mankind. How could she not love you? That night, though, at dinner, she disappears. And to your surprise, people find her being manhandled by some peasant who she claims saved her life, which is frankly a bit bizarre. And her story is that she slipped trying to see the propellers. Okay, is kind of wild, but whatever, you just opt to give the guy 20. No doubt this ruffian has never seen that amount of money in his life, and he was probably just trying to rob her anyway, so quid pro quo.
Is that the going going rate for saving a woman you love.
Rose is displeased.
My god, she is incorrigible. Okay, since she wants to play that game with you, you can play it too. You will win, and you will paint yourself in the best light possible by throwing this rat a bone.
You could join us for dinner tomorrow evening.
This way, you look like a noble prince handing out an olive branch to the undignified masses. You seem generous and humble and gracious. And in the game of the aristocrats, the Deus de Mar, where image is everything, you will look magnificent. But that night, to show her how she should love you, you fire your silver bullet. With this, any woman would bend the knee. Because of course, women only ever respond to shiny trinkets and nothing else, and this one is the most shiny and frankly insane of them all.
It was won by Louis XVI. They called it Le Coeur de la Mer. The heart of the ocean, yes.
It's overwhelming.
That's for royalty.
And you're not lying there actually. You truly believe that you are royalty. You believe that with your vast fortune, you are actually probably better than royalty because your family earned their living through hard work rather than just taxation of others to achieve it.
You know, there's nothing I couldn't give you. There's nothing I'd deny if you would not deny me.
Your feelings for her are true. You love her as much as you could possibly love anyone. But first she needs to open herself up to you. But the next day she insists on walking around with that young twink for hours, which is frankly annoying, but it frees you up to do your own stuff. Mingle with the others, but you do end up all convening for dinner. And this allows the young lad to tell his story. Of course you lock eyes and nod, but ultimately you ignore him because you need to establish he's there only under your good graces, and you have all of the power here. Rose ends up coming arm in arm with the little twerp, and now you need to act surprised.
That's amazing. Like, you could almost pass for a gentleman.
And yes, he does look pretty good, but again, this is a little bit of condescension to put the power in your hands. If you treat him like a child playing dress up, he will feel out of place and awkward. And so you all sit down for dinner. He even rejects caviar, the absolute snobbery of this fool. You just cannot fathom how a bottom feeder could even turn down this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But of course, you must maintain the illusion of control, not to let anyone know that you are rattled. But then after one prompt from Rose's mum, he goes on some rambling monologue about a wistful existence of chasing one's earthly desires as if this vagrancy is somehow noble or dignified.
A real man makes his own luck, Archie. Right, Dawson?
The audacity to throw matches across a table. It's uncouth. But what's worse is the entire table, and Rose seems to all lap it all up like he's some amazing creature or something, when you, Caledon Hockley, are sitting right there. This is not how this dinner was supposed to go. No, actually quite the opposite. But as the night draws on, you and the other men decide to go into the sitting room for some brandy and probably snuff. Of course, this Jack declines, but that's fine. It's still a bit suspicious. So on your way to the sitting room, you get your hatchet man to follow Rose. Because while you are the better man here, you don't know how Rose will act. She could get swept up in some nonsense that would be bad for her. Of course, that night you find out she went to a party on the lower deck. How utterly improper. But also, it's completely disrespectful. If you didn't know any better, she was having an inappropriate relationship with this knuckle dragger.
Your exertions below decks were no doubt exhausting.
I see you had that Undertaker of a manservant follow me. How typical.
But she just has to fight you every step of the way. Why can't she just be like a normal woman?
My fiancé! Yes, you are!
You could be like your father here. If you really wanted to, you could show her the belt so she would understand what would happen if she steps out of line. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't believe I just said that. After all, this is the early 1900s and fuck me. Apparently, at that time, a husband, when shown disrespect, was allowed to do this kind of stuff. Besides, you have no doubt in 20 years' time there would be a procedure that would allow you to take the spirit out of her and lobotomize her.
Will honor me. You will honor me the way a wife is required to honor her husband. Because I will not be able to fool Rose.
Hopefully that will get the message. But until then, you should ensure that creature isn't to step foot near your Rose, so you rescind your kind offer to him to come to the upper decks, and he can stay where he belongs. But it seems that no matter what happens,
none of these stewards have seen her.
This is absurd. It's a ship. There's only so many places she could be.
she disappears endlessly. Seriously, it's like she's a ghost or something. But then you find something in your safe. Okay, before it was some little juvenile game, but this is serious. He has seen her naked and God knows what else. She was supposed to be your unspoiled flower. Now she is being ruined by a peasant of all things. But of course, in the game of aristocrats, things happen sometimes, and now you are actually even more motivated to win. Because you have to beat this man, and you have to win the affections of Rose, because you cannot lose to a peasant. It's just not right. All you need to do now is prove to her that he's scum, and you have the perfect plan. So, you get your hatchet man in, you're gonna frame him.
There is no emergency. Yes, there is. I have been robbed.
Get the master's arms.
Now, you moron!
Honestly, it's just so easy. And they do come to you holding hands, undressed, and your blood is simmering. How could she? Like, with him. Your worst fears are realized. There is no doubt in your mind what has happened. So you show her the depths of her new lover boy. Show her how he stole the necklace that you totally planted in his pocket. And he gets arrested and taken away. Very nice, and you have won. There is no way she could believe that guy. It's just too obvious. But this time you actually really can't control yourself. But just as you're about to explain that as your wife, she cannot do these things, you are rudely interrupted by captain's orders or something. What is so important they couldn't wait 10 minutes for you to finish giving your wife a dressing down?
The ship will sink.
Hang on, what? The unsinkable ship will sink. You were told a few days ago that this was impossible. Luckily, this is something your money can buy you out of, right? And so you and Rose, you get onto one of the boats, but not before you twist the knife.
You know, it's a pity I didn't keep that drawing. It'll be worth a lot more by morning.
Besides, that drawing will never see the light of day again. It will go down with the ship, and of course, the salty water would corrode it to such a degree that it will never, ever be recognizable, right? Right? And not at all the device that creates this whole film to happen. But of course, Rose doesn't get in the boat, which drives you insane. Why does she insist?
Look at him! What, give me a horse to a gutter rat!
And she spits on your face. You gave her everything a young lady could want. Money, a good-looking husband, security, even her goddamn Picasso paintings. But she'd rather run away with some sketch goblin just because he has a semi-tragic backstory. They wouldn't even be able to rub 2 pennies together between them. And where would she get her Picassos with him? But of course, with the whole Rose thing, you and your henchman start brainstorming ideas to get out of this alive because you just made a bit of an egregious mistake. So you head back to take the jewel.
Putting on the net is letting him in on his own.
There's one on the other side letting men on.
And also to, get some money, because a little bribery goes a long way in these situations.
I make my own luck.
As you head on deck, you begin to realize that this situation is a lot worse than you originally thought it was.
Too late. There are more boats down the front.
And you have to do whatever it takes to survive.
We have an understanding then, Mr. Murdoch.
But you find Rose and her little bastard waiting at a boat, and despite your better interests, you take this moment to win, to prove to her that you are the man that she should be with, not this ruffian.
Listen, you'll be fine. You'll survive, all right? Don't worry about me. Now go on, get on.
I have an arrangement with an officer on the other side of the ship. Jack and I can get off safely.
And you give her the coat off of your back. It's truly the most humble thing you could do in this situation. And you watch as she is lowered into the ocean. You just proved yourself to her, and now you can escape and let Jack die.
There's no arrangement, is there?
Oh, wait.
No, there is.
Eva.
Not that you'll benefit much from it. I always win, Jack.
And lower away, Eva.
She will then love you. God damn it, man. Really? So they're in love. Okay, whatever. You can still win this. But it seems like she would rather die, spend her last moments with that guy, than you. After you gave her the literal jacket off your back to prove how much you care. So anyway, you start blasting, because if she'd rather die than be with you, you're more than happy to oblige and just speed up the process of this boat. But of course it isn't until you're waist deep in water that you realise that you might have overreached here somewhat. Then you also realised she has the gem in her pocket. So you do try to get on a boat, and you saw a little girl and decided to ignore her. But then you see one of the guards shoot someone, tell you that you can't bribe your way out of this. So you realise that little girl is honestly your one chance to save yourself.
How much she has in the world?
And with her, you do manage to make it onto a boat, ensuring that you keep any of the filth from stealing any seats, because your survival is all that matters, and you're not going to lose to any more peasants this time. And so your safety is ensured, and you watch the Titanic sink. It breaks in half, and the cries of people in the night slowly fade into nothing. And you are picked up by another ship, and you do make it out alive. You even go searching for Rose to see if she made it, in part maybe to see if she got your gem, but also to see if she would still be your wife. But you never did find her, meaning that your priceless gem is on the bottom of the ocean, gone forever. So you get married to another woman, become a wealthy magnate, but the financial crash in the late 20s absolutely ruined you, and you also find out those paintings Rose had were worth a fortune. So, having lost everything twice in the span of 15 years, including the woman that you wanted to marry, and also those priceless paintings and the gem, you give up on life. You eat a bullet, because you don't always win. Anyway, I just want to shout out my members real quick, especially Jay, Granite, and Alexander. Thank you guys so much for your support. And of course, Lavender, Zyla, Mr. Ventura, Elisa, Takaru, and Al. Thank you guys, have a great day and have a great life.